So what you're gonna expect in this talk is that I'll share to you. Oh shit! No, sorry. No, it should not autoplay. There. Ah. Okay. So what you'll expect in this talk is that I'll share with you how we can set up a declarative Python development environment with Devon. So it's more of me sharing with you the concepts of like the declarativeness of environments. So yeah, hi, I'm Dan. I'm a DevOps engineer at Mugnat Tech and a VP for programs at DevCon Davao and also a CS fresh grad at University of Mindanao and also a AWS certified cloud practitioner. So that's that. And also outside of like tech stuff, I've been like bouldering. So if you have bouldering there, so if kasi like may gym dito sa Davao, so if we meet, say hello, hi. So ayan, for this talk, I'll share with you like the pain points of like setting Python environments, and I'll share with you the usual things that we do. So like the common solutions that we do when we create a project, and I'll introduce to you declarative development environments, and let's create a simple declarative Python project with Devon and talk about its pros, its cons, its things that needed to be considered. So yeah, let's talk about the problems. So have you ever like created like think of a project and like you're so into it and you spent weeks, months developing it, and later on at some time your development died down or yeah, died down and you forgot about it um, because of work, could be another side project of you. So, and then another point in time, you try to revisit it. So, you know, yeah, like you try to run it again, and when you reinstall everything, you try it to run, it fails. Because it could be that within that time that you stop developing, there might be some cases where you updated your packages, you updated your system, you remove some packages that might require that project. So it is kind of cumbersome that you will do like trial and error because maybe you didn't document how you set up your project. And what if I told you that there is a tool that you can use where you declare what you want in that configuration and you can share it to anyone, and also it's easy to onboard that project to other teams or to other like contributors that you want to do. So before that, you all know this one, virtual and PyPy and dev containers, Cochin UV. So you're familiar with these guys, right? Yes? Yes. So I'll talk about briefly about these tools and share its some drawbacks of it. So let's start with virtual env. So as you know, virtual envs allows you to like isolate your packages, right? And it's cool and all, and it's fast. So you want to like create a project, you straight up think about like set up with virtual env because it's fast. You don't need some multiple commands to run it. It's just like, I think it's 3 commands. So you create a .env then folder with Python, and then you activate its shell so that, and then you can do like pip install, whatever. So it has its drawbacks with like the Python version itself. So because it doesn't manage Python and you have the problems with multiple Python versions colliding with each other. So let's say you hadn't set up in a way that you specified this Python version, then it will most likely fail due to like dependency conflicts, something like that. Next thing is PyEnv. So PyEnv is a simple tool that lets you manage Python versions. So it kind of goes hand in hand with PyEnv and virtualenv. So virtualenv handles your packages, while PyEnv handles the different Python versions. Now, when you do this, it's nice and all, but if you're handling multiple Python projects with different requirements, you need to manually run a PyEnv command so that in this project you'll run Python 3.13, or another project you run this command so that it will switch to Python 3.10.5 and so on. So that's PyEnv. Dev containers. Dev containers are cool because you can configure what you want in a dev container, a JSON file. So an example here is a dev container that has Python 3.12 with some extensions. So as you can see, it has VS Code. So dev containers is created by Microsoft, and the only caveat that I see here is that it's limited to the IDE that you have. So most likely dev containers can only be ran on VS Code, or I think VS Code clones. So there's that limitation. And here we have Poetry and UV, some modern tools that manage Python projects. So both of these has a lock system. So it locks the Python hash packages. So your dependencies locks its commit hashes. So you can expect that it is you're expecting the expected packages that you want. So these are like Poetry and UV, but we have a case where we want to have external tools like a database, a Redis. So Poetry and UV cannot manage that. Okay, so here is the typical the easiest way to set up or you bootstrap your Python project. So we use PyEnv here to declare to say that we want 3.11.9. And after that, we now use that certain version of Python. We now create a virtual env, and then we activate it, and then we do the usual pip install, and then pip freeze if we want to put in the new packages that we've installed to the requirements to text. So this setup is an imperative approach, meaning you tell the computer or the machine what steps it needs to do. So step 1, you run PyEnv, step 2, and so on. So with the title declarative environment, so what are those, what is imperative and what is declarative? Now, if you think about it, imperative is, I think by definition, is the step-by-step process of how you tell something. So in this case, you tell the machine or the computer to run these certain steps. Whereas a declarative approach is you just say what you want. So you don't need to take account all the steps that it needs to do, because in this case, dev containers will handle it for you. Kind of like declarative is an abstraction of imperative, because you don't need the mental overhead to do the steps. So it does it for you. So that's what declarative is. So now, at a glance, with the tools that I've mentioned before, so from virtual env to dev containers, we approach to an imperative to a declarative-ish setup. So now, why do we want to set up with declarative environments? So with declarative environments, since we just want what the outcome is, you can expect that it is reproducible, it is deterministic, meaning, and that whenever you install, reinstall, or another person installs your project, you're ensured that it will do as it was configured. And also, it's portable, so you can run on macOS, on Linux, and WSL on Windows. And also traceable because it's in a configuration file, so you can keep track of the changes of your configuration and you can put it on Git and then push it to GitHub and share it to others. So that's why declarative environments are cool. So now let's create a project with DevEnd. So DevEnd is a tool that lets you reproduce environments and declaratively set up. And it checks all the boxes of like reproducibility, deterministic, portable, and traceable because DevEnd is an abstraction of Nix. So if you're not familiar with Nix, Nix is the way you declare. Nix is a tool that lets you declaratively configure your projects. So the scope of Nix is system-wide, whereas the different tools before it's only on the Python like scope. So with Nix and DevEnd, it's the entire system that you can configure. You can configure with different languages, you can configure with different services, and so much more. So what I'm referring to Nix here is that because there are three like Nix, so you might be confused of. So what I'm referring to here is the Nix package manager. So the Nix package manager houses more than 100,000 packages. So if you need some package, most likely Nix package manager has it. So this one is an example of setting up or ito na lang, since it's a screenshot. So the way you set up is the way you initialize a project is with devend init. What the hell? Devend init, and then you call the folder, and then it creates the files for you. And then with this one, once you enter the project, it will get all the dependencies for you, so you don't need to handle, and Devend does it for you. And then once it builds, then we have these outputs. Why? Anyways, so let's try to convert this imperative approach to a declarative one. So this is its equivalent. And the way we configure it is within devend.nix. And I know it's another language, but think of it as a JSON with variables. So it has kind of a similar structure. So in this one, we tell devend to enable Python. We tell that it's the version 3.11.9, and we enable the virtual env, and also link our requirements text to that configuration so that devend will check that file and automatically installs the packages. So as you can see below, with this one, you can check that Python is now at 3.11.9 because within that shell or within that folder, that version of Python only lives there. So whenever you step outside of that, let's say in this folder, virtual env setup, then it will go back to whatever configuration this folder has. So in my example, Python with Devend, I configured it with 3.11.1. So the cool thing about this one is that your project is isolated from other packages that you have. And it's the best way to make it reproducible, deterministic, and also portable. So here is another view of the setup. So you can, after you initialize your Devend environment, you can now like create your Python files. You can create web applications, the usual thing that you do. So the Devend part is that you just set up your project and what's next is whatever you want to do in that environment. So here, what if we want to add Postgres and Redis? So the usual thing that we want to do is we run a command, let's say another package manager. So let's say that Postgres is installed globally, right? So whenever you have a project, you need to create a table on that global Postgres package. So let's say you have multiple projects managing with Postgres. So you will have a problem with that because you're now manually managing different tables, different versions of Postgres. Now with this one, you just configure it as this. It's just simple. So once there are changes with dev-end, it will automatically rebuild the shell that you are in. So once it's rebuilt, you can now like check if the Postgres version of Postgres is installed and Redis is installed. So again, this only lives within that folder. So when you go out, you cannot run Postgres or Redis CLI because it's not installed globally. So so the easy way to put it is that Debian works by you have an input which you configured, and the underlying Nix engine builds that environment for you, and you now have an output which is the packages that you've configured. As you can see, this has the Redis, the Postgres, the Python that we declared, and also the processes of Postgres and Redis. So the trade-offs and takeaways for implementing that kind of setup. So with Event, the pros that you can think of course, it's reproducible, cross-platform, and fast onboarding because the configuration file is in a version control, and another person will just pull that repository and just run one command like dev shell. Then it will do the installation, the setup, the configuration for you. So you don't need to do all those individual steps with the usual setup that you need to do. And the cons here is that the learning curve is kind of high. So you kind of need an upfront investment in setting up a project. So as you can see before, like we had to do a lot of configurations before we can say that this project works. And last thing is it's not so popular. So if it's the first time hearing Nix, then yeah, it's kind of a niche tool, but it's powerful. So if you want to try Dev-End, it's an easy way or an easy entry point for you to delve with Nix. And of course, at the end of the day, do what you want to do. So like, of course, no one wants to like tell you what you do. So you have the freedom of what you want to do, whether it's any solution or any way. So yeah. And that's it for my talk, and apologies for the technical difficulties kanina. But yeah, feel free to scan my QR code, so you'll link that with my website with all the socials that I have. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.